Hi there folks, and welcome to Mark's Monday Moan. That's me, by the way. I'm Mark. So, what has been the burning topic of this week? Or should I say last week? It seems to be for everyone is the next generation consoles. You know, E3 was just recently and we got to see the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, you need to know which horse to back in this race because you're going to have to throw down a lot of money this time around. We're looking at around £400 plus for the new consoles. So, what was everyone's main controversy with the next gen reveals? Well, it's good old digital rights management. Yes, DRM, that horrible little acronym that's attached to most online media nowadays. Now, Microsoft, I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting to deny the future generation the right to own anything. That's what most companies are doing nowadays, like your Apple and even Steam. But the thing is, these companies have an advantage. Most of them are not really in direct competition with anyone. You know, Apple have pretty much monopolized the entire portable media market, and they were nice enough to remove the DRM from iTunes after a while. Steam, on the other hand, well, they drive prices down so low that you really don't care that you're just essentially getting a rental for your game. Now, Microsoft, you're in direct competition with Sony. So you turned up with your new console with all this DRM intact, and what was your excuse to people if they didn't like it? Just deal with it. Deal with it? That's not going to be the case here. You have direct competition from Sony. So essentially what you said to the fans at that point was, don't buy our console then, buy theirs. Not a smart move, that is terrible PR. So, what did Microsoft do to combat this backlash? Well, they did a 180 on the one to make it more like a 360. 360. I'm confused. So yeah, Microsoft have crumbled under the fan pressure and have removed all of the DRM from the system. I mean, after all of that PR effort to convince the gamers that they were wrong and that DRM was required for the future generation of gaming, I thought you said you couldn't just flip a switch and it would go away. And what happens? They've done that. They're going to install a patch on day one when the console comes out so that you'll have no DRM on your console. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. If it's just a little switch you can flick to turn it off and on again, who's to say they can't just turn it back on in a couple of years' time? Remember what Sony did with the alternative OS and the PS3? They just decided after a while, we don't need that anymore, let's just switch it off. And is that fair to the fans, the people who have bought the console in the first place? Not at all. See, this is the problem we're going to be dealing with in this always online generation. Even the last generation was filled with it. You got pushed constant firmware updates to your consoles that changed many things, especially on the Xbox 360. It went from having just a simple dashboard where you could slide between panes to find what you want to becoming an advert-filled mess that became impossible to find, that even things like the latest demos. The most disappointing thing for me is to see that Sony actually want to copy Xbox dashboard. Yeah, they've made a new one for their PS4 that looks like Facebook Timeline and Windows 8 have mated into some kind of horrendous mess. It's going to just be panes and panels. How on earth are you supposed to find your content amongst all that? And no doubt they'll be pushing adverts to you. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not really happy with anything that's been shown so far. I mean, the Xbox One, it does look amazing with some of its features like the cloud processing, and that family share thing sounded alright until they announced it was only for like 60 minutes. But essentially they have an amazing console, but they've ruined it through bad PR alone. They could have just put it out there and made it look fine, but instead they made DRM the forefront of their console, and that was the problem. Now, Sony on the other hand, they've not really done a lot. Essentially they've just given us a PS3 with better processing power. So it's not really a new generation, it's just a kind of a 3.5. I mean, at least Sony have started out in the right foot, saying they want to support the gamers and developers, but let's hope they don't use that foot to kind of pivot themselves in any degrees of rotation. I don't need any more of that. Okay guys, so that was Mark's Monday Moan, so let me know in the comments what you think about this show, if I should continue to do it, or, anything at all you'd like to talk about. Even topics for next week, that'd be great. Or if you just want to tell me how bad you think my shirt is, that's perfectly fine with me. See you guys next week, if I manage to keep this up and it doesn't turn into Mark's midweek monanza or something. Bye.